In the opening of the film, we are introduced to the main character named Bang Ya. Bang Ya is a businessman and he gets a visitor one day who happens to be a writer. The writer interviews him because he wanted to write a book on Bang Ya. Bang Ya tells him that he doesn't believe any writer would like to write a story based on his life. The book writer tells him that is not true. No one has a more interesting story than you. You're a huge gangster around this area. Bang Ya tells him that is true, but he uses to be a servant before. Bang Ya allows the book writer to write a story about him and starts narrating his life story for him. Bang Ya says he didn't used to be a businessman from the start. He used to be a servant. He shared a room with a house guest named Mr. Ma. Bang Ya was a servant of a royal aristocrat. One night, Bang Ya was eating dinner with Ma and Ma's servant at their place. Mr. Ma was quite the ladies' man for his age. The aristocrat's name is Mong Ryan. Moving forward, we see Bang Ya visiting a club with Mong Ryan, and both of them were there to see a dance. The dancer's name was Chun Hyung. Mong Ryan enjoys Chun Hyung's dance and decides to meet Chun Hyung alone after her performance. But the aristocrat wasn't the only one who was fascinated by Chun Hyung. Mong Ryan's servant, Bang Ya, sees Chun Hyung and feels love at first sight. To follow his master's orders, Bang Ya follows Chun Hyung to her quarters and meets her to inform her that his master, Mong Ryan, wants to have a word with her. Chun Hyung's servant rejects Bang Ya's offer and tells him that no man is allowed in their quarters. In the meantime, Mong Ryan arrives at the scene as well. Mong Ryan slaps Bang Ya on the face and pretends that he never sent him to Chun Hyung, just so he could impress her. He tells her that he has been quite soft on him and apologizes on his behalf. He tells her that he wanted to properly hand her an invitation. While Mong Ryan tries to impress Chun Hyung, another nobleman arrives and wished for Chun Hyung to dance for him too. Mong Ryan gets into an argument with him but couldn't him, so Bang Ya intervenes. Bang Ya beats up the nobleman and scares him off. Now, instead of Mong Ryan, Bang Ya accidentally makes a good impression on Chun Hyung, and Mong Ryan loses his chance to speak with Bang Ya due to the fight. Back at his place, Bang Ya shares his worries and troubles with Ma. He tells Ma that he messed up a chance for Mong Ryan to speak with a beautiful dancer, and that could create a problem for him. Ma tells him that he needs to come up with a plan to reunite Mong Ryan with Chun Hyung. Chun Hyung's servant looks after Chun Hyung and takes her messages as well. Bang Ya and Ma wonder what they could say that compels the servant to do whatever they want. Ma was a playboy, so he comes up with a plan. He tells Bang Ya that when he meets Chun Hyung's servant, he needs to hold her in his arms and touch her sensitively. That way she will do anything for him. The next day, we see Chun Hyung sitting with her mother and a bunch of other women discussing Chun Hyung's marriage. Chun Hyung's mother suggests that it will be an honor for them if an aristocrat like Mong Ryan courts Chun Hyung. Meanwhile, Bang Ya arrives there and meets with Chun Hyung's servant, Dan I. Bang Ya touches her sensitively, exactly how he was advised by Ma, and tells her the message on Mong Ryan's behalf to convey to Chun Hyung. She gets scared and conveys his message to Chun Hyung. Later, Mong Ryan, Chun Hyung, her servant, and Bang Ya meet together in front of a waterfall. Mong Ryan and Chun Hyung chat with each other while Bang Ya and Dan I cook a meal for them. Chun Hyung clearly shows no interest in Mong Ryan, but in Bang Ya. She asks Bang Ya if he's a good cook because he was also looking very strong the other day when he fought with that nobleman in her chambers. Chun Hyung sees Bang Ya's strength, his gentle personality, and gets quite impressed. Mong Ryan gets jealous that Chun Hyung is interested more in Bang Ya, so he plays the dirt card. He defames Bang Ya and tells Chun Hyung that he lives with a dishonorable man named Ma, and he must have picked up these tricks from him. Chun Hyung gets a bit shocked and loses interest. Now, Bang Ya feels more affection for Chun Hyung and tells Ma that he wants her badly. Ma helps him in getting Chun Hyung from Mong Ryan. He tells Bang Ya some tricks to flirt with Chun Hyung, and the next day when Bang Ya tries them on Chun Hyung, they work. This means Bang Ya and Chun Hyung were slowly getting a bit attached. Bang Ya returns home and Ma informs him that a letter was sent to Mong Ryan from Chun Hyung's chambers and he was able to read it. He tells Bang Ya that the letter was from Chun Hyung and she invited Mong Ryan for some late-night festivity. Bang Ya disagrees and tells Ma that Chun Hyung would never have sent a letter like that. Ma agrees and tells him that it must have been Chun Hyung's mother who wrote this letter, and in reality, it was indeed Chun Hyung's mother who was behind this letter. We see Chun Hyung talking with his mother again. She tells Chun Hyung that she sent a letter to Mong Ryan which will make him come running toward her. She tells Chun Hyung that she has done all she can to manipulate Mong Ryan, and she leaves the rest of the job to her. Her mother also advises her to stay away from Bang Ya and not to do anything with him. Later on, Mong Ryan arrives at night in Chun Hyung's chambers. He spends the night at her place and leaves in the morning. In the morning, he meets Bang Ya and tells him that he spent a wonderful night yesterday, but a few moments later, he faces some stomach trouble. Bang Ya returns home and recaps for Ma the whole conversation he had with Mong Ryang this morning. Ma tells Bang Ya not to worry because if Mong Ryang had been intimate with Chun Hyang, then his stomach would have been fine. Ma now advises Bang Ya to get intimate with Chun Hyang and get her by his side before it is too late. Ma gives some more tips to Bang Ya, and at night Bang Ya heads straight toward Chun Hyang's chambers. He enters Chun Hyang's room secretly while she sleeps. He wakes her up in the middle of the night, which scares the hell out of Chun Hyang. Before she screams and calls for help, Bang Ya begs her not to because otherwise they will kill him. Chun Hyang asks her then why he is even here. He tells her that he got scared that he lost her to Mong Ryang and kisses her. They both get intimate and the night passes by. But despite what she feels for Bang Ya, Chun Hyang still wants to marry a rich man. So she tells him that she wants to meet his master. Bang Ya obliges and Chun Hyang makes love with Mong Ryang as well while Bang Ya and Danai listen from the next room. Later, Chun Hyang says that her mother asked her to do this. So, the next day, Bang Ya goes to Mr. Ma to learn everything he can from him to win over Chun Hyang forever. Elsewhere, Mong Ryang, now happy with his conquest over Chun Hyang, makes Bang Ya bring him a letter which he gave to Chun Hyang to declare his promise to marry her. So that night, Bang Ya tries to steal the document. However, Chun Hyang stops him. When she finds out that Mong Ryang is leaving her, she gives him the paper herself. Bang Ya says that he will return after a short journey to Seoul. Chun Hyang promises to wait for him. He goes and gives the letter to Mong Ryang. However, it turns out that it's a different letter where Bang Ya has revealed that he spent a night with Chun Hyang. He has also declared that he will help his master get married to Chun Hyang with his palm print as a binding signature. The moment Mong Ryang sees this proof of his servant's insubordination, he dismisses Bang Ya from duty without explaining why. So, Bang Ya is spirited to work for Chun Hyang's mother. He continues meeting Chun Hyang regularly while her mother turns a blind eye to them. Chun Hyang has also started falling for Bang Ya. Elsewhere in Seoul, Mong Ryang passes his exam and becomes a royal inspector. However, on the day of his graduation, he insults the royal eunuchs. Enraged, the royal court demotes Mong Ryang to a lowly position back in his hometown, assistant to the regional magistrate. His boss, the magistrate, reveals that he's a classic simp who just wants to sleep with women. Mong Ryang arrives in his hometown and stops to eat at a busy restaurant. Danai is the proprietor of this place and is doing well. She reveals Bang Ya and Chun Hyang's relationship with him. They get to talking and talking gets to lovemaking. However, Mong Ryang is still filled with hatred for Bang Ya. He goes to meet the magistrate and tells him about Chun Hyang. He advises him to take Chun Hyang forcefully, if necessary. He then goes to Chun Hyang's house. Bang Ya is there and says that since Mong Ryang left her, he should not interfere with her life. Bang Ya is a little tactless though and speaks in a threatening manner. Later, Mong Ryang does end up meeting Chun Hyang in secret. After meeting him, she has a wide smile on her face which Bang Ya notices. That night, the magistrate also arrives at Chun Hyang's house. Bang Ya serves him meat and the magistrate takes his opportunity to ask about Chun Hyang. Bang Ya says that she is sick, but the magistrate is adamant about hearing Chun Hyang sing. He gets aggressive. Chun Hyang arrives just then and in a shy manner tells him that she is too sick to sing today. So, the magistrate tells her to pour him his drinks. Chun Hyang declares that she is no one's servant, and the magistrate slaps her in reply. Bang Ya stops him and pleads with him to leave her. The magistrate pours his anger on Bang Ya instead and beats him with a kettle. After that, he commands Chun Hyang to be arrested. So, with no other option before him, Bang Ya goes to Mong Ryang and begs for his help. Next, he goes to the town jail and tells Chun Hyang that he'll get her out soon despite having little external support. Chun Hyang cries and hugs him. The next day is a festival day. The magistrate sneaks through a back door to a room where he's kept Chun Hyang captive like some personal toy. There, he starts revealing his perverted nature. He gropes her and is about to remove her clothes, but just then Bang Ya enters the compound. He begs him to let Chun Hyang go. The guards control him by beating him up. Just then the royal inspector comes with his agents. It's Mong Ryang who never really got demoted. It was all a ploy to arrest the corrupt magistrate. After that, Mong Ryang with his face covered tortures Chun Hyang on the false claim of being a pleasure girl. Bang Ya simply cannot watch the scene and intervenes. He gets on his knees and says that Chun Hyang has a husband. When Mong Ryang, still with his face hidden, asks if Bang Ya is the husband, Chun Hyang says no, he is just a servant. So, Mong Ryang starts hitting Bang Ja. So, Chun Hyang brings out the letter from Mong Ryang where he once declared his promise to marry her. She claims that the man who wrote it betrayed her, and they should give him the letter if he comes back. Saying this, she takes a small knife and stabs herself. Realizing that Chun Hyang was waiting for him all this while, Mong Ryang takes her and weeps. Later, Bang Ya, who has been arrested, is visited by Mr. Ma first. He tells him to never beg a woman to stay. After that, Chun Hyang comes as well alive and well. She reveals that this was all a ploy between herself and Mong Ryung to arrest the corrupt magistrate. Even Bang Ya knew about this back when she hugged him in jail. So, she asks him why he still intervened. Bang Ya simply replies that he was worried for her that the magistrate might do something bad. Hearing this, tears fall from her eyes. Finally, he declares his love for her. Without saying anything, she leaves. Later, she leaves for the capital with Mong Ryung. Before departing, she tells him that she wants Bang Ya to go with them. Mong Ryung is understandably hesitant, but she convinces him by threatening to reveal the ploy they just pulled off. On the way, as they play, Mong Ryung hits the ball too hard and sends it flying. He sends Bang Ya to retrieve it. When Bang Ya finds it and comes back, he sees that Mong Ryung has pushed Chen Hyang into the stream below. Without a second thought, Bang Ya jumps in. He saves her and runs away with her. Back to the present, Bang Ya says that Mong Ryung kept sending people after him. The novelist regards him with respect for managing to evade them for so long. He then introduces the novelist to Chen Hyang. She survived the incident, but sustained damage to her brain, because of which she now behaves like a little girl. The novelist is touched by Bang Ya's tale and says that he will write a story called The Love of a Servant with Bang Ya's titular hero. But Bang Ya does not like it and tells the novelist to beautify the story. He says that Chen Hyang always waited for Mong Ryung for all those years. Bang Ya tells the novelist to write that Chen Hyang eventually found her happily ever after with Mong Ryung, just as she wanted for all those years. The novelist asks him why. Bang Ya replies that Chen Hyang wanted to spend the rest of her life with Mong Ryung. She would have loved to finish her fairy tale. He is happy to be a hero in his own heart. So, he asks him to name the story of Chen Hyang. Just then, it starts to snow. Bang Ya asks the novelist to add this beautiful scene as well to the story. For that, he picks up Chen Hyang and starts singing her a song. But he asks the novelist to write that the man carrying Chen Hyang right now should be Mong Ryung. As he sings her the song, he starts getting emotional while Chen Hyang swings her head playfully and smiles. We then see scenes from Chen Hyang's life. And the movie ends here.